everyone, my name is Devleena Ray.
And my name is Abhishek Singh.
Welcome back to yet another episode of Weekends with Us. So we just finished watching the Netflix Docu-series, the Indrani Mukerjea Story, Buried Truth.
Yeah.
And we are here to share some scandalous reviews about the scandalous story as well. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. And just a disclaimer, we are not passing any verdict, right? It is just we as a reviewer telling you how the docu-series is, and maybe in the process talk about what happens in the story. That's all.
So this docu-series is of the scandalous and the infamous mystery death of Sheena Bora. Sister later turned out to be daughter of Indrani Mukerjea. And this Indrani Mukerjea seems to have planned this murder with Sanjeev Khanna.
Right. Allegedly.
Allegedly. Oh yeah, allegedly. I think Indrani Mukerjea would be very unhappy if we are not using the term allegedly.
Exactly.
You would know why we are speaking of this because after you have watched the series.
Right.
But yeah, she apparently had planned this with Sanjeev Khanna, that's her second husband, and her driver. I forgot his name, but the driver. The complications are very apparent in the context setting itself, and it speaks very highly of, it's a prime example of how dark family secrets could be.
Right. Exactly. First of all, it's an India Today Productions. So I think India Today took it upon themselves to produce this story, this infamous story. Anybody of you who were an adult during 2015, you would have heard about it, right?
Yeah.
We were just doing our post-graduations then. And we heard about this case, and it was very scandalous. Every news channel just ran with their stories and conspiracies and their twist to it. So
I think every day it was a new
revelation
that was coming out.
Exactly. So this was quite a scandalous thing back then, and Netflix being Netflix, so of course had to just catch on to it.
Making money, business minded.
Everybody has to make money, right? So this is actually directed by Uraj Pahel and Shana Levy, and they are both directors by profession and husband and wife. So they are the ones who have directed this. And dysfunctional family as a concept is quite coveted in movies or docu-series. People love to watch rich people being in this kind of dysfunctional setup where the family has secrets and there's some murders going on, some shady shit happening with money. People love this kind of thing, right? So, of course, Netflix took it upon themselves. Did they do a good job of it? Is something that we'll discuss.
Yeah, and today we plan to cover our entire review into three aspects. One is Indrani, the main character.
Right.
Second is Netflix or the makers. And third is the system.
Yeah.
The judiciary system, the police system, everything under the system.
Right.
And towards the end, we plan to cover up are we satisfied with how Netflix has produced this movie, or is our heart still yearning for more? Right. So the first aspect that we want to speak about is Indrani, the main character herself. Everything about her is drama, and she is meant to drive a narrative. Starting from she's smiling when she's out on bail, to the day when she's wearing probably the loudest of a sindoor on the date of declaration of her divorce with Peter. Right. Next is her statements, where she's talking about why should I be bothered if Sheena has decided to flee on me.
It's so ridiculous.
Or why should, very conveniently playing the woman card or the victim card also at times that we speak about. Very coyly, but that women can't be ambitious. And the society always looks down upon women who are ambitious.
An outsider,
An outsider who is trying to make a name being an outsider and is still looked down upon.
Exactly. She enters the frame in the second episode, and she looks right at the camera and says, ask me whatever you want. So that is how she is introduced, and everything, like you said, is about a drama. Like the English, that fake thing happening. You hear the accent, you hear the flair, the constantly removing hair, which is not technically there.
Don't say that.
No, I'm not saying that she doesn't have hair.
I'm also losing hair. You will say me also.
It's not really there to be bothered, but she's talking this and this and where is the case being driven?
Yeah, it is still. It is driven in court.
Oh no, court, not court. Court. Yeah, so everything is drama, right? I mean, like the smiling, as you said, the flair, the acting, the talks about how women are suppressed to a past which is you're supposed to empathize with her, and she being an outsider. Lot of things she's throwing at you for you to empathize with her. I'm not saying she cannot be empathized with. It is just that you do things which are problematic. I'll leave it at that right now.
It's so ridiculous.
And we are not even saying, you rightly mentioned that we are not saying that we do not want to empathize with her, specifically knowing she was probably raped by her own father, and the firstborn child, which is Sheena Bora, is allegedly the daughter of her own father and she herself. So that is a very harsh story. That's a very soft story, and for such stories you will naturally sympathize and empathize with the person. But here the way she's conducting herself is not making it believe that she has gone through any trauma. Probably she's too ambitious for even people like us who are also equally ambitious, but somehow she comes across as a very shady character.
Exactly. I'll tell you why I feel she's shady. Okay, I mean, like, see, if it was one thing or two things or three things, it's believable. But constantly during the entire time, she's throwing everybody under the bus, one after another. The first husband wasn't earning well. The second husband was probably drinking. The third husband was probably complicit, threw her under the bus. The son is a lazy bum. The Sheena Bora just ran away apparently. Then the father raped her. Mom didn't do anything at all. Like, she's constantly assassinating everybody's character throughout the series, right? Rahul, actor, is rich, spoiled brat. He's trying to frame me. Everybody according to her is a problem. So that is why we think she is shady. That's why I didn't find her to be a very sympathetic character.
And to the extent we feel that whenever we hire a lawyer, right, we are always in that feeling that we are under the grace of that lawyer.
Yes.
But here it feels like how she treats like whenever Sana is speaking, the lawyer, or the other gentleman is speaking, she's trying to control the narrative, and she's always interrupting. Like, this is how you should be speaking. This is the line that you should be speaking.
Right.
I mean, it's a very dog versus cat story. Like, you feel that I have hired you, so you should be working because you are on my pay scale. And I also feel that she's an opportunist throughout. Like, her life has been like that. Of course, had it been narrated or had it been of somebody else, it would have been a very rags to riches kind of a story, which we would probably be looking up to. Right?
We would root for that person.
Yeah, we would be rooting for that person, like somebody who was an absolute nobody in places like Shiliguri, and then pregnant, mother of 2 children by the age of 16 and 17, fleeing away, trying to make a name in the city of Calcutta,
going to Mumbai,
and then being an HR consultant or like running HR consultancy services, to running a media house or being a CEO, co-founder along with Peter, who was then the CEO of Star India, and now for INX Media. Like, INX Media is the one who has given us 9XM, these kind of music entertainment channels. Of course, INX was renamed and rebranded to 9XM, but this was the origin of it. Looking by this, it always feels like, that this is a story that we should be looking up to. We should be getting inspired by a woman like this. But, I mean, the way she has portrayed herself as an opportunist, and the way she has been only dissing the other people. How the first husband is a good for nothing, lives a very ordinary life. Or the second husband, God knows what is the fault.
It just shows alcohol bottle. Probably he drinks a lot. I don't know.
And the third husband probably just did not support her during the trials and threw her under the bus or whatever it is. Like, he's just dumb. I mean, as it's been declared. So it just feels that even this Netflix, towards the end, it writes that we had approached 4 of the accused and only Indrani Mukerjea responded. So this entire thing became about her version of the story. So that brings us to the Netflix and the makers as well, our second point, where we feel that if it would have been more balanced, of course we heard Rahul Mukherjee's side of the story as well, but not where he's speaking in this docu-series, but in more like how he was very smart enough to record all the calls and the recordings with Peter Mukerjea and Indrani Mukerjea. But I feel if there would have been like, more question answer kind of a thing. Of course, we understand that this is still going as a case in the court of law, and she's out on bail after serving for 6.5 years already. But in between, Netflix or the makers are actually trying to interrogate. For example, Mikhail, the son, the second son, was asked questions like, how were you even thinking of buying an SUV when you are saying that you did not have the time or any energy left to search for your sister Sheena Bora because you were looking after your dying grandparents. So that was a very good question to ask, and the guy literally fumbled.
At times you question the intent of the series because technically it's only Indrani, as you said, driving the narrative. So you may think that is it trying to portray her in like sympathetic light? Is she trying to are they trying to make her sympathetic and more like a real person? But then at the same time, the good part is they also left a lot of information for you to decide. So yes, they could have done a better job by bringing in more people and maybe asking more questions. But at the same time, I think they left enough details for you to decide, like, because I could not relate with this lady at all. Okay, and forget about this lady in general. In real life, people who have this aura of superiority, while talking to you, I feel the people who have low self-esteem, they are more likely to believe such people. Like even in our sales job, we come across a lot of these personalities who are like, acting larger than life and, absolutely better than everyone. And I think people who have low self-esteem try to be like, oh my God, whom did I meet? I mean, did you know what the person was? And I feel these people are very fake, right? So I think the series did a good job of telling you that this is the person. She has done certain things which are very questionable, passing off her own daughter and son as brother and sister of hers. Probably ruining her entire company. What happened to those $150 million which were invested into the company? That is a big question, right? So, I mean, they give you enough details where you can form your own judgment. So, while yes, the intent is questionable, as is being questioned by the CBI, they themselves tried to put a stay on this, and the public also thought but I think it's fairly balanced for you.
I think what Netflix tried doing here is on the positive side of it. They think that audience is intelligent enough to understand what is really happening, because Netflix very smartly leaves certain clips unedited, very raw clips in between where Indrani is trying to control the narrative for the audience to understand that probably if in just nanoseconds these many things are happening and is being controlled by Indrani. Probably just imagine in the larger picture for these many years, what are the things that she is capable of? Because such people are very clever, very smart, and somebody who has climbed up the ladder, they know which card to be used at what point in time. So hardworking people only go till a certain extent, but smart people go to this extent very fast. So they know various other tricks and methodologies to reach that stage, and Indrani is a perfect example of that. I think the last is we want to speak definitely about the system or the judiciary system, the police system. I think we need to definitely speak about the high profile cases.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like if you consider any high profile case, this is a high profile case. You may consider Talwar case as a high profile case. The Jessica Lal case.
Jessica Lal, even Sushant Singh
Rajput, right? I mean, these are all cases which are considered to be high profile because of people involved. There are powerful people, rich people involved, and almost all the time you see that police does something, they arrest a bunch of people, and then some big shot lawyer is being hired by the rich folks, and suddenly there are a lot of holes found in the police work. Sometimes rightly so. I'm not saying that police does a good job. Of course, they do a very shoddy job of collecting evidence,
tampering
evidence, planting evidence, forcefully getting confessions out of people. So these shoddy tactics which are being done in India a lot by police is what compromises the case in the first place. Probably a murder which could have been solved easily gets so complicated that you never find answers in the first place. Like if they did the DNA analysis properly, if they collected the right evidence at the right time, if they booked people on right time, if they get the CCTV footage at the right time, a lot of these things would be solved pretty easily.
Yeah, and like speaking about like where these incidents allegedly would have happened, it's like the lanes of Bandra, Taj lanes, and
exactly.
going to Raigarh. Okay, Raigarh probably would be something in the outskirts, but these places are the ones where CCTV is there.
Exactly.
If the DNA sample is already stating that this is of Sheena Bora, and the defense lawyer, I think we have to give kudos to the defense lawyers of these people, like Shah Rukh Khan's, Aryan Khan's case. The defense lawyer, I mean, here also in the, in his interview, he very aptly mentions, I do not care whether my client is right or wrong. My job is only to defend the person who has approached me. And this person is very smart. Like he says that, why will I be requesting for
a DNA sample, like a retest?
A retest of the DNA sample when I have already defended by stating that this has been some sort of a malpractice has already happened while collecting the DNA. To the extent, it made us also ponder that why all on a sudden the driver 3 years later is confessing that I have done the murder along with Sheena Bora or somebody else.
Exactly.
Like, how come suddenly these things are happening and police are not able to give any concrete information?
Absolutely.
So that makes us really ponder that sometimes the answer is right there, but it is just the lack of evidence or the tampering of evidence which has happened, which is always like delaying the process like crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, in the series you will see that the location evidence is there. I mean, I really don't think there could be that much problem. It's not 90s or 80s that CCTV is not a thing. It's 2012 we are talking about. Smartphones were a thing. CCTVs were a thing. It's not possible that you can't get enough evidence. So it is the shoddy job which is done by police usually, and that is what makes these cases so murky and basically never ending. Right? You never get the right answers from these kind of cases. So and they always end up solving cases with poor people or middle class people, who can be threatened and you get confessions coerced into giving a confession. But the rich folks, they can afford lawyers, right? I mean, yes, they go to jail, but number one, they get bail because they have the right lawyers. And the second thing is, even their downfall is not ever a downfall like ours. Like if we were ever out of job, we would be on the road begging. Okay, these guys, when they get out of their corporate leaderships, they lived a very swanky lifestyle anyway. So
and after divorce, these people, I mean, this lady got, I don't know how did this. I think Peter Mukerjea is actually dumb, man, or maybe he just did not want to fight anymore with her. God knows what. And he has given Worli House, the studio flat to her. He has given all what Berlin and Spain. Those flats are also some 3 crore of alimony.
It's so ridiculous.
God knows what all things this woman has taken, and then because of such people, hardworking people or women like us get questioned for being ambitious, for being even slightly ambitious, and then they start fearing us that tum to maar ke nikal jaoge, tum to pit ke chali jaogi bhai.
Absolutely. And who is earning money out of this Netflix series?
Yeah, she
right?
She is very smart. I think we should just give it to her for being aware of which card to pull at what time. She's an opportunist. That is the right word for her.
Absolutely. We are not going to ever give a verdict ourselves that she's a murderer or not, but she is an opportunist and she is very shady. She took a lot of questionable decisions to be where she is. So my problem is not with the murder. I don't know if she murdered her or not, but the point is, she is not a great character to look up to, right? So
I think in conclusion, we would just like to say that in this entire complicated family tree, Vidhi Mukherjee is the only person who turns out to be a little sane and intelligent or smart enough to understand that there is a hell lot of complication in her own family, and she's not in that right position to call anybody her family, but she just has to probably support her mom because she's her mom, and whether she's a murderer or not. I mean, I think that is a very powerful statement to make because in all this, she has also lost her prime time in the career, in her life. So that is definitely one.
Just one last comment which I wanted to make on this was that, Vidhi multiple times says that she was drinking. She drinks gin and I get it. I mean, she was going through stuff. The one problematic found about Rahul, because see, Rahul was not there defending
Yeah,
himself.
correct.
But every time they were showing glimpses of Rahul, there was always a cigarette or bottles of alcohol lying around on table. I mean, it was an actor portraying the role of Rahul. But I just found that characterization a bit weird. I mean, what are you trying to say? Show that is he actually a drunk or a brat? Or I mean, like, I was just found that portrayal a bit problematic. Every time he had a cigarette in one hand and alcohol bottle in the second hand or on the table. You don't need to do that, right? I mean, for the person who is not there to defend himself on television.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
Yeah.
I think one more point, which is not really a review, but this अमीर लोगों के चोचले, popping pills.
Bathroom.
Popping pills in the bathroom. Do you ever keep your medical pills in the bathroom, in the washroom?
Understand, man.
We have only seen that in
Movies,
in Hollywood movies.
Ah.
Because there they can drink the tap water itself
Yeah.
and pop pills. But anyway, that's a very weird
Yeah.
weird part in this entire review. So yes, that brings us to the end of
Yeah.
our version of what we feel about this docu-series. We absolutely love watching such thriller, scandalous series or movies. So if you also like what we shared, please share your review, share your comment, and just share our video to other people, and at least give us a thumbs up.
Yeah.
That would mean a lot. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye.